Pickup Lines is presented by Gamez Law Firm. Personal injury guidance for more than 50 years. Gamez Law fights. By Integrity Roofing and Siding. Family owned and operated for more than 40 years, serving the San Antonio area for roofing, siding, and renovation needs. And by the Sabinal Group. For nearly 20 years, serving the San Antonio region through professional minority general contracting services. Pickup Lines is broadcast from inside the all-electric Lexus RZ 450E, courtesy of North Park Lexus at Dominion and North Park Lexus of San Antonio. Good after. No, it's good morning. It's still good morning. We are just a few minutes shy of afternoon here on this blue sky, kind of windy day here in San Antonio. And this is Pickup Lines, to my knowledge, the only talk show live in a Lexus. And like I've said before, if somebody else has another show live in a Lexus, let me know, and we'll talk about that later. But I have April Chang with me here today, mother, wife, but also one of the co-founders of the Mitchell Chang Foundation, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit because we have a lot to get to before we get to that. We were just talking before we came on the air, and I had to stop April. I said, it's too much. You're telling me too many good things, and you're already laughing because there's some fascinating things that I've just learned about you moments ago. And hopefully we can divulge some of those things here in just a little bit. You and I were together, was it the Saturday after Thanksgiving?
Yes, yeah.
For the opening of Mitchell's Landing, which is this fabulous, and we'll show some pictures in just a little bit, but it's essentially like an all-inclusive public park, not too far from where we are right now.
Yeah, it's actually just a couple of miles away.
Yeah.
It's a playground. It's really fun. It's pirate thing.
We'll show some pictures in a little bit. It's all pirates, which is inspired by your late son, Mitchell. But you were telling me, as we are talking right now,
yes,
there are crews working on the upkeep and little maintenance on the playground.
Yes, because it's been loved that much. Like, it has had so many people on it. It's had well over 20,000 people on it already, which is normally over 10 years worth of use for a playground. That
in 2 weeks, basically.
No, less than 2. Yeah. Has it been 2 weeks?
Well, the 30th.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been that long. I mean, it's had so much use already that literally they're replacing some equipment. Yeah. Not even lying. They're literally replacing some stuff on the pirate ship. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you have to see it. So essentially it is like Hardy Oak and Hebner. I say just outside 1604. Very easy to get to. Again, we'll show it off more in just a little bit, but pretty amazing stuff. But before we get to that, though, we got to work our way backwards because you were telling me growing up, you were born, was it in North Texas?
In the Panhandle.
In the Panhandle.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not quite North Texas.
Well, I've never been navigation. I'm navigationally challenged. Panhandle.
Yeah. So I was born in the Panhandle.
Okay.
In Pampa, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
My daddy was a roughneck. He was in the oil business, and then we moved to Kansas, in a tiny, tiny town.
Chasing oil over there.
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Okay.
And then I was explaining. I grew up on a dirt road. Like, I truly am barefoot, and dirt road. That's me.
That's literally you.
Yeah. Like, actually, right now, I always tell people, they're like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a mule in a horse's harness." No, seriously, because it's like, I have a different life.
Well, let's put it this way. You and your husband have done very well. We're here at your home in an undisclosed location, but it is a beautiful property, and it would be hard for somebody to imagine that you grew up literally on a
dirt road. The county road. The county road. The county road was dirt road, not my driveway. The county road.
I see.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah. And then when the cows would come in and get in the garden, like, my mom would send me out, a 3-year-old with my brother who's 4 out with baseball bats and say, "Okay, go scare the cows off. They're eating the tomatoes." Yeah.
Well, as somebody once said, we're not in Kansas anymore.
No,
so this is but you're here in San Antonio, but you made a stop in Austin.
Yeah,
and you went to high school or grew up in Austin as well?
I lived most of my life in Austin. So oil industry went bust.
Yeah.
And so we ended up moving to Austin, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I grew up in Austin in the 90s, and it was amazing and perfect, and I lived the best life in the world. It was so fun.
What made it so amazing? Because for those of us who did not grow up in Austin in the 90s, what made it so great?
Okay, it's before it got so big.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't so crowded, and it was just you could still go. Okay, like I saw Bush at South by Southwest before they were like Bush.
The band.
Yes.
Not President Bush or anything, like the band.
No. But like, before they made it and were Bush, I mean, they were Bush, but it was, And so you would, and they actually had live music, and it was just so much easier. You could go to a club. Obviously I wasn't of age. You should never do that. It's just music. It's just the music.
Okay.
But you could go there, and but it was music, and it was fun, and Barton Springs. It was just it was a very fun, innocent time, and it wasn't.
And now ACL is so big, and South by Southwest is so big, and UT is so much bigger. And
it's so different. I can't go home. Like, it's one of those things, like when say you can't go home. I can't go home. It's so different. It's upsetting, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what brought you to San Antonio, and when did that happen?
The medical industry. Yeah. Did y'all know that the medical industry is actually the largest producing industry in San Antonio?
I knew it was up there in the top.
It's like $44 billion a year. Like, it's huge. So I ended up doing medical sales. And I lived in other cities.
Okay.
Went back to Austin because I'm like, ooh, Austin's amazing. Yeah, I want to go back to Austin. Yeah, the medical industry in Austin is awful. Like, it was not good. It was very small town, almost in a way. And I was like, oh no, I need to make money. I need to see good surgeries. I need to make money. And I was transferred to San Antonio, which actually has a very, very good medical community here.
Indeed.
It's very good. The surgeries, techniques, it's all really good.
Right.
And so that's what brought me here, was actually the medical industry.
Okay, so you're doing your thing, minding your own business.
Yes.
Selling medical supplies, whatever the case may be, and then you eventually cross paths with your eventual husband.
Yes. The first day, actually.
The very first day.
Yes.
But fun fact, you had crossed paths with Dr. Marvin years earlier in Austin.
Yeah, so we went to high school together.
Surprise!
But we didn't really hang out together because we just different crowds, Then it was different focus in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's an anesthesiologist, right?
Yes,
very
he's an
successful
anesthesiologist, and I was a medical sales rep. Okay, y'all.
Okay.
Different lives here.
Okay.
So I recognized him because he's very tall. My husband, Dr. Chang, but he is very tall. He's like 6'2". That's tall for a Chinese dude.
Okay.
And so I think.
No,
I think so. So I remember seeing him. In fact, it's funny because my friends, even in high school, like, we went to school with him. Like, yeah, he was a tall Chinese kid that was always in the cafeteria with teachers. And they're like, oh, I remember him. I'm like, yeah, that's him. So he would always we'd see him go into the cafeteria with the teachers, get his lunch, and then leave with the teachers. And that happened for 1 year.
Going back to class? Or what was he doing
with
the teacher? I
don't know where they went. I should ask him. Like, did y'all go to the teacher's lounge?
Soaking up knowledge.
Where did you go during that time?
Yes.
I don't know. I really need to ask him that.
Okay.
If anyone's working with him right now, find out.
Yeah, let us know, please. We'd like to know where was Marvin going with the teachers.
I know. He always finds out what I talk about. So go ahead, just tell him and let me know.
Okay.
So, because he is on OB, and I know all of y'all follow all this.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so, but and then he disappeared, and we're like, wow, we saw you move. Like, smart Asian, smart, tall. He was so smart. He was so smart that you could tell you're like, oh,
like intimidating smart?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
No, I mean, obviously he didn't even talk to us kids. I mean, and so we're like, oh, I guess he moved.
Right.
And then it turned out, no, he went to college. And then so he ended up graduating from Johns Hopkins when he was like 18. Yeah.
So do the math. You heard correctly. Graduated from Johns Hopkins at 18. Yeah. Work your way backward, and you can get a sense of just how brilliant the man is.
He's very smart.
So fast forward, you start your professional lives. You come to San Antonio. He obviously came to San Antonio, and then you connect again at a hospital, or okay.
So It's my first day. It's my first day on the job, y'all. And so it's like 6:30 in the morning. It's University Hospital, which is ginormous,
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is.
And their ORs, it's big. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And so it was my first day on the job, and I was in the ORs, and I have a sensory thing. I'm sorry. I don't like things touching my palms. And so I like to get anesthesia tape and put them on my palms every time when I get into the OR.
I see.
It's mental.
Okay.
It's all good. Whatever. It makes me feel good. And so you're like, fair enough.
No, I'm not going to argue with you.
I did. I loved it. And
Yeah.
so it calmed me. It actually calmed me down.
Okay.
And I do need calming, obviously. And so I was looking for anesthesia tape and I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh no, I need it. And so I was like running around, and I found an anesthesia cart, and I was going through the anesthesia cart looking for tape. And this dude walks up and he's like, what are you doing in my cart?
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, I'm not looking for drugs. I'm looking for tape.
That's it. The old I'm looking for tape.
I'm looking for tape. No, I really was, though.
Did you know immediately who that was?
No.
You didn't know it was Marvin?
No.
Okay.
No. Like we didn't connect the dots that we went to high school together for like, it was probably a year after that. Because I was coaching a T-ball team over in Round Rock, and I was like, yeah, I'm driving back to Round Rock to coach a T-ball team. He's like, my parents live by there. I was like, oh, you went to my school then. I know you. And I was like, oh, you were the tall dude. Yeah.
Who always disappeared with the teachers and then went to Johns Hopkins as a teenager. Okay. And the rest is history. So obviously you guys connected.
Well, we didn't date at first.
You did not? Well, I was going to say.
Well, we did. Well, I mean, we
after you tried to steal his tape,
okay,
you didn't start dating.
He came back and he asked me on a date, and I said yes. Just don't report me as trying to steal drugs and like get me fired my first day. Please don't do that, because I really wasn't.
Okay.
And so we went on a date, and he was just you could tell he was so nice, and he really wanted to he was too nice for me. And I was just having too much fun in life at that point. And so we didn't date again for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
You just were not ready for that much niceness.
No. And he held a grudge, because I eventually, like a long time later, like a little bit later, I was like, contact him. I was like, hey, have you seen this movie? And he was like, yeah, I saw it. Click. I'm like,
oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, he like turned me down.
He remembered. He
totally remembered.
Okay. He wasn't ready for your
I
happiness.
Know, right? I guess not. Yeah.
Well, it worked out though. The moral of the story is it worked out. You guys obviously started dating and then connected and got married.
Yeah. And ended up with a house full of kids.
Yes.
We did.
You got married in what year?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm not trying to stump you or anything or get you in trouble. I was trying to do the math in terms of how long you were married. Then you started having children, obviously.
Yeah. So, I mean, oh my gosh, y'all, it's a mess. I don't know. And I don't know. I can't tell you the year we were married. I can't even tell you how long we've been married. It is just, my life has just been so blissful since. It's just all run together.
I get it. Well, you've been through a few things, but you obviously you knew you wanted to have a family, and you started having children.
Yeah. Oh, and we got married actually at University Hospital.
Well, that was what I was going to ask. Yes, you heard correctly. You got married
at University Hospital.
At the hospital.
Yes. We are that like San Antonio and that into the medical community. No, but he was actually really sick. He was actually really, really sick. And basically, this is how he got me Miriam, y'all. Oh my gosh, this is how he did it. He needed my insurance, basically. Because he needed like really, he was really sick. Like
I'm not laughing at his illness, but
I had really good insurance. I had amazing insurance.
Well, you're selling medical.
I know,
medical sales. I would think you have a pretty good plan.
I know. So like I had really, really good insurance, and I'm one of those people that had been engaged several times but never married, and so it's like I'm just like I love a commitment, but I don't like making the commitment. I guess you'd say.
Okay.
And I don't know if I could have gotten married if we hadn't been like forced to, in a way where he got really sick and he needed my insurance.
But something clicked though. I would think other than the insurance, you were thinking to yourself, okay, I am ready now to make the commitment.
Because I wanted him. I was like, he was going to have surgery at university, and there's some of it's great, but he needed very serious surgery. It was really serious, y'all. Like my mom was like, you're marrying him, he's going to die. She's a nurse. And she was like, he's going to die. You're really going to marry him right now? You're young and you're doing this. Yeah, it was really serious.
Thank goodness she was wrong. Respectfully.
Yeah, no, I was like, no, he's not. And we're getting him to a really good doctor. I hooked it all out too. I called up the doctor. I'm like,
you had some connections.
I know, and he got them all in. But anyway, so basically, he was bedridden. I mean, he couldn't leave the University Hospital. So I was like, we'll just get married here. It's all good.
So you didn't have to plan a large wedding or anything. You just kind of made a spontaneous decision to get married at the hospital.
Spontaneous. Yes.
Less expensive, I would think, that way too.
It was interesting. Now we did later on have something.
Okay.
But we got married at University Hospital, and it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to visualize all of it.
Like, it was interesting.
And the good doctor is alive and well and working.
He is. He got his surgery, and he's so good. And he's
probably working right now.
Yes, working super hard right now.
Okay. So he'll see this eventually.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, baby.
No, it's okay.
I love you so much.
It comes from a place of love.
It does.
Listen, I gotta say,
yes.
I'm thrilled to see you laughing and smiling and having fun with this, because now we get to the part of the story where some people, this is maybe aware of this part. So you're married, obviously, you start having children, and then we get to 2018.
Yes.
You and Dr. Marvin decide to go on a date, have a date night. And as is the case in sometimes daycares have this, or little camps or whatever, they have a date night, or, mom and dad night, where they say, hey, bring the kids over, we'll watch them, you guys go have fun, and then just come pick them up in just a little while. So as fate would have it, your children were actively taking swim lessons at a swim school here in town.
Yeah.
You and Dr. Marvin decided to go on a date. And I read, I think was this the first time you had left the kids?
Well, yeah, at a place.
Right.
Yes. Like we left them before with our nannies. Because I had a job previously, and we had a nanny, but we had never taken our kids somewhere and left them. And it was only our nanny. We didn't even just oh, come on over here,
right,
and watch our children.
Right.
So we actually had done the date night because our children they had been doing some lessons for about 8 months, and they were kind of bored of it. They were so bored of it. They were being so combative, because they're also, 3 and 5 or 4. And they were being super combative, getting in the car to go to the swim lessons.
Yeah.
They were acting like toddlers.
Right.
And not being cooperative. And so we wanted to, it was actually a swim school that had, their employees had recommended, hey, why don't you try the date night so that they can see that this is a fun place.
It's not just lessons all the time.
Yeah, they can have fun.
Right. Yeah.
They can have fun.
Yeah.
And the first time they said that, I was like, you're crazy. No. But it's one of these things you hear over and over again.
Yeah.
And then you start to ask questions, and then you do it. So, so we, we signed them up just right before it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
The couple days before. And when we called, we asked questions. I mean, we asked questions when we signed them up at the swim school.
Right.
What we were told about the date night and the swim school, it didn't necessarily quite mirror reality, though. But at that time, we didn't really think about we need to ask to see proof on things.
I think you take it, and most parents probably do this. I probably did it as well. You take it for granted that they've got everything in place, and should an accident happen or something, that it'll be taken care of.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily quite think, you don't think that.
The worst.
I mean, you would think maybe your kid breaks an arm.
Right.
Right. But I mean, even though we should, actually, we're super paranoid people because of University Hospital and seeing awful stuff there. And so you go in our house, all of our furniture is attached to the wall, every single thing, and not just with regular baby attachments. Right. It's with the
anchored.
It's with the stuff for earthquakes, because that can hold it can hold more weight. Actually,
it's interesting.
We were super paranoid.
No, it's interesting you say that, because having been on the news for so many years myself, I've seen the stories of all these freak accidents or things happening or whatever, and I'm probably a little paranoid myself, so I get, in that sense, I get what you're saying. But so you had the furniture quite literally almost everything. Bolted to the ground.
Even the little it's tiny nightstand, that's even bolted over to the walls, because one time saw where a nightstand just fell and
Tipped
literally hit just that right spot on a 3-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
and the 3-year-old couldn't breathe. Just hit the right.
Yeah.
It's just, so you just never know, and we've seen that, and
Mm-hmm.
so we were both extraordinarily paranoid.
Yeah.
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 So we called, asked questions. I even asked, okay, what's the ratio? We were told 1 to 4, or no, 1 to 5. And normally it's 1 to 4.
Like student to instructor.
Lessons. Yes.
Yeah. Ratio.
So we were told I was told 1 to 5. And it turns out that wasn't the accurate number.
Right.
Normally it's 1 to 8. When Mitchell drowned, it was actually in the pool room, it was 1 to 16. We were told lifeguards. Turns out they did not employ a lifeguard position, and didn't require lifeguard certification. We assumed AEDs just because of our backgrounds. You should never assume.
Defibrillators.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yes.
You should never assume, apparently. No, you shouldn't. I even asked the words, do kids drown there? And the girl laughed at me. I remember her name, and she laughed. I was like, no, you might find this funny. I'm not joking. Like,
right.
Do kids drown there? How are you going to make sure my kid doesn't drown? And she was like, oh no, and explained safety.
Right.
And, the next day we take our children there because we're trying to be good parents. They need to learn how to swim. And honestly, we drove around for like 40 minutes, 30 minutes trying to figure out what to do. Because we would go on dates, but during the day, like when they were at pre-K, we didn't go it's not like we were itching for a date. We had to, because when Marvin's post call, we got that time. But so we were just driving around, what do we do?
Where do we go?
What do we, there's lines, and so, and then we find a place and we get the worst phone call ever, honestly.
So you get the phone call, and you obviously go to the hospital, and it's the worst possible news. I don't want to dwell on that. Obviously, we know what happened. But I just wonder, not having experienced something like that myself, what does that do to your family in the immediate moments, your marriage, the dynamic? Because I think pretty quickly after that happened, you and Marvin decided to do something, and then the foundation was born.
Yeah. Well, it implodes your family, honestly. We were it was such a wonderful little family unit we had, honestly. Mitchell and Evan were just our lives. And we were such a happy family. Mitchell and Evan were really good friends. They played so well together. And we were pretty happy. And it just wrecks everything, You're devastated, you're broken. It's just so, you're just trying to help your other little boy who got to witness all of this.
He was there that night.
He was there
at the swim school.
So you're just trying to help him through this the best you can, And so I used to say, fake it till you make it. And and it helped me having Evan around, because I would pretend to be happy for him. And it would drive Marvin nuts. He's like, I can't believe you're faking it. I'm like, well, at least I'm being nice,
It's tough because selfishly you want to grieve, or you want to just go disappear or go somewhere far away. But you have another son, like you said, and you have
to
an
take
obligation.
Care of him.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure he's going to be okay, because survivors are more serious and it's real. And it's a much higher rate of children who lose a sibling. They have a much higher rate of suicide or drug overdose later, actually. And it's very serious, actually. And so we knew right away, we have to take this so seriously, all of our actions with Evan, because at that point, it was all for Evan.
Right. Yeah.
To get him through this.
Yeah.
But getting him through it helped get us through it, I guess you could say,
I guess. And you've since had another child.
Yeah, we've had 2.
So you have 2. So right now you have
2 more. So we have three living right now.
And then
so
Mitchell watching from up
4
top.
boys.
Let me bring out the pictures. Listen, he's good. I know we're biased, but he's a good looking young man right there.
We make good babies.
Again, I will not disagree. And, you know, modern technology is great in that it provides us with so many more photos and video clips.
Yes, I say that, actually. I can't imagine.
His laugh.
I know.
I heard his laugh this morning a couple of times.
It was so deep and full.
It was a good, legit laugh. So Mitchell would be 10 today, correct?
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
I know.
I view him and all of his classmates, because they were there at the event. But I still, in my head, think of them as the little 3-year-olds, even though now they're 10.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
How's Evan doing now?
I mean, he's good. I mean, I'm sure.
All things considered.
We've worked through a lot, you know, and he did lots of therapy. It was many years of therapy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I'm sure he's going to need therapy again, because grief morphs, you know. It actually does. And, like, so I'm sure he'll probably, as a teenager, you know, like, he might have some anger about something, like,
right.
You know, he actually asked me the hardest question in the world when he looked at me one time, and he was like, after like therapy, and he's like, "Mommy, why did you leave us there?" You know, here's my like 7-year-old asking me that. I'm like, "Oh my God, Mommy." No.
Yeah, and maybe if he becomes a parent someday, he'll understand, have a better understanding. But it's impossible for him to understand that. But again, like I was saying, if it wasn't weeks or within months, you guys decided to take action, and that's when the Mitchell Chang Foundation was created, right? And was that was a deliberate, intentional? You wanted to act that quickly?
Well, we were San Antonio pushed us, but it's good y'all did. No, it was okay. When Mitchell died, it was felt, honestly. I didn't realize that at first, because it was our tragedy, and I didn't realize that it affected so many families. Because I mean, it is awful, and it's a parent's big fear to leave your child with someone's care, and then you get a call. Your child is not responsive. Most people take it like that, as your child passed out. Medical industry, that means your child does not have a heartbeat. Like, your child is not alive. Like, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. And so you don't imagine that, but it's a fear. And so it really hit a lot of families. So a lot of people were reaching out, being like, "How can we help? We want to do something. How can we help?" And so there was so much energy about what happened with Mitchell that we're like, we need to help focus this. We knew we eventually wanted to do something for him.
Right.
We knew we wanted to, but there was just so much outpouring from San Antonio that we're like, they had us get on it.
Yeah.
They had to start moving. But it was good.
So then the idea or the concept of this playground comes about, and Mitchell had a passion for pirates.
He sure did.
All things pirates.
He did. He wanted to be a pirate.
He wanted to be a pirate, and he was on his way. I mean, there's video clips of him like swashbuckling and
all the paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a no-brainer then that Mitchell's Landing was going to have a pirate theme to it.
We decided to go there. Yeah.
So you had to you needed land, obviously. You needed a ton of money, and you had the support. But if I read somewhere, this was supposed to open in 2022.
This was a long time ago.
But obviously, then the pandemic happens, and nobody's on a playground in 2020 or 2021.
Well, there were people on playgrounds,
or socially distancing.
But it was such a weird. Obviously, it was a really weird time. Like, are we even talking about 2020? Like, I thought we just don't talk about that year anymore.
Oh,
but it was just such a weird time, because at that time it was so hard to fundraise in a way, because you couldn't do your normal fundraising things, and it was also, people were worried, how's the economy going to be affected by all this? Are we going to get out of this? When are we getting out of this? When are we going to be normal? And there were other bigger things going on too. Like, honestly, there was like times, because Marvin had to work. It was beyond ridiculous. It was beyond ridiculous, and how much he had to work during that time. And it was just a lot took a backseat. Well,
but then you got creative, because you saw a need for masks.
Yeah.
And you're making masks, or you're selling masks.
But okay, so we were like, it was all very weird, and a lot of people were put to this, their jobs were literally put to the side.
Yes.
Of like, and how are you going to work? What are you going to do? And so we had come up with the idea, let's make masks through local seamstresses and employ them. Because they had previously helped us. Local seamstresses actually helped us with our mask drive when we were donating to the hospital. So at that point, there was not PPE. And like my husband was literally coming home with these like really flimsy, awful masks. Yeah. And he's like spraying them and putting them out in the sun to dry. And
I saw that. To try to disinfect them or sterilize them.
Oh my God. This is awful.
It's a crazy time.
It was a crazy time. And so we donated to hospitals.
Right.
And then just schools so that they could have it, so they could function, because we need that to function. And then it turned into, well, maybe we can employ seamstresses.
Right.
Give them some income during this time.
Yeah.
And then and sell these and you know, and it worked out. That actually is how we ended up, you know, working with HEB, and then HEB saying, we want to help you at the playground.
Yeah.
And we're like, you want to help us?
How great is that?
It's amazing.
So, and you have some pictures here. So let's show some of these pictures, because it just opened on the 30th, and I was honored to be there to MC that opening. The mayor was there, some city council members, Judge Sakai was there. Oh, yeah, put the cameras right there if you want to kind of, and I know there's a little bit of a glare.
I probably don't do this as well as you.
No,
I'm so
you're
sorry.
fine. But that's like an aerial view, right?
Yeah. Okay, so this is beautiful. Okay, this is just so pretty. It's an aerial view. But you can see, like, okay, so like over here. Oh, there we go. There's the beach. And you see the HEB rocks. Who has that?
Yeah.
And then the aerial view, you can see the pirate ship. The pirate ship. How do the people in the weather do this?
The meteorologists, I have no idea, with the
gosh.
green screen. I know.
That's so weird. Okay, so you see the pirate ship, but then the rest of it's hidden under shade, because the city of San Antonio was super awesome, and they donated. They gave a ton of shade because we couldn't afford it.
Gotta have it.
Yeah.
So, do we have a final price tag on what all this costs?
It was like almost $3 million.
$3 million. Okay.
Oh my
Because I saw originally like in the 250 to 300,000 range.
Oh.
Then I saw like 700,000.
Oh.
And okay, I didn't realize it went up to 3 million.
Oh yeah. Oh no. So it kept growing. Like our part wasn't 3 million. Our part ended up being like 1.5-ish.
Still a chunk of change.
Yeah. So it just kept growing though, because honestly, like in order to help certain groups with disabilities,
right?
Because okay, designing a playground is interesting and inclusive one. And one thing we learned was something that might be inclusive to one group makes it inherently exclusive to another group.
And actually, it also makes it more expensive.
It makes it 3 times as expensive.
Triple
the
amount.
Yeah. It's like just give all your money away.
So let me grab a couple more of these pictures here.
Yeah.
So this is again at Classen-Steubing Ranch, Hardy Oak, Huebner area, outside 1604.
So we wanted to include fun things like this, like spinners. A lot of things, like the city actually loves this. They're so excited we're putting this in, because a lot of disabilities that might not get a lot of equipment, like sensory integration, autism, actually, there's a good centering happening. A lot of them actually do really well with rapid spinning.
And you've got the soft.
That is so expensive. That's the most expensive part.
It's like spongy. It's
like $22 to $25 a square foot. Oh. It's $500,000 worth of safety ground cover. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
like,
I know.
My house, our first house, is like $130,000. Like $130,000. Like.
Oh my gosh. But it is beautiful. And the pictures don't do it justice. You got to go see it in person and everything. You have some more pictures here.
Okay, so things like this, where this is like a one-of-a-kind feature, not the roller slide, but what's at the end. I can't even touch it because I'm like, wrong way.
No, there you go.
You do it. You point.
So it's over
at
here.
The bottom, yeah. Okay, so yeah, at the bottom, it is a safety waiting bench. So individuals who might have to wait for someone who's like bringing like their assistive walking device, or maybe they're like a cane for a visually impaired person, they actually can go down the slide, scoot over, and be out of the zone of play. That was designed for Mitchell's Landing. It was the first time the playground company ever installed it here in the U.S.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but because we had to keep targeting different individuals with disabilities and add one more, it just kept growing.
Yeah. No, I get it. A few more minutes with April Chang here, talking about her late son, Mitchell, the Mitchell Chang Foundation. Yeah. I noticed on Instagram and on the website, you have the website is themitchellchangfoundation.org, but the tagline is "Be the Good Story." And I think your Instagram handle is "Be the Good Story." So explain that tagline.
So one of the things Marvin and I wanted to do a foundation was really because Mitchell was so sweet. He was sweet, loving, and fun. Yes, we wanted to give his fun to everyone, but he was actually like such a kind little boy. Like this is going to make me cry.
Okay.
His pre-K teacher would always say, like, he had a servant's heart because he was always helping his pre-K 3 classmates and just doing kind things. And he was just a good kid. And so we wanted to spread the good, especially because he's not here anymore to spread his good.
He would help pack their backpacks,
yes,
so at the end of the school day when they were getting ready to leave, make sure the water bottle was in the backpack.
And push in his friend's chair.
At 3 years old.
He was actually a very mature 3. I didn't realize it because like they were my kids. And
yeah.
I didn't realize now I have 2 like heathens that are feral and I'm like, oh my gosh, he was so mature and good. Like, how did that happen?
Well, I was going to, you know what? That's a reflection on your parenting.
Well, no, because my other ones are heathens.
Well, they still have time.
Like, it's just like, I'm just like, wow, he was so mature for a 3-year-old.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so we wanted to also inspire people, a battle cry in a way, but inspire people, like, you don't have to do a big thing.
Right.
To do good. We wanted people to do good in small little ways.
Yeah.
And just that's what Be the Good Story is. It's just live good, live a good life. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could just be a little help. Honestly, that makes like a huge difference.
Right. And I've said this before. You don't have to be a multimillionaire or whatever. You can, a little good can go a long way.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
There are plenty of pictures and videos and different things. The MitchellChang.Foundation.org is the website. Be the Good Story is the hashtag or the handle, if you will, on Instagram. And you can find. So now that the playground is essentially done, I know they're maintaining it and keeping it safe for the kids. What else have you had a chance to think, either short-term, long-term, what else you want to do with the foundation? I know you and your husband have been very strong supporters of legislation and pushing legislation in Austin to help prevent what happened to you from ever happening again.
Right. Well, there's legislation sessions coming up again, actually, over in 2025. And we have Mitchell's bill is going to go up again. And so Senator Zaffarini and then State Rep Josie Garcia, they're authoring Mitchell's bill, which is just actually swim school safety standards. We had no clue. Swim schools are like the only industry left in the state of Texas that's like not regulated.
Which surprised me when I heard you say that. That is scary and kind of surprising.
It is so surprising that there's an industry left that is like not regulated at all, and that's it.
Where instructors would be certified in CPR, which I guess you just assume that they are.
Yes.
You would assume that they had a defibrillator.
Yes.
You would assume that the student instructor ratio was 1 to 4, 1 to 5, but again, not always the case.
Right. And so it would just set safety standards so that parents know there's a minimum of this going on. And and it also would help the employees, because I think what doesn't really get talked about is this actually imploded our world.
Yeah.
But this also heavily affected those young women. They were very young who were there that night. Mm-hmm. They were very young, y'all. Mm-hmm. They're so young. I can't imagine, having that on my life. And so they weren't given the proper training for a good outcome. They weren't given like the tools for success, they really weren't. And so this would actually, it'd benefit families from knowing there's a little bit here, but also these young individuals who are working, giving these swim lessons, it actually gives them a little bit of protection, and because it ruins lots of lives. I mean, it's devastating on all around,
Yeah, because like you said, we're 6+ years removed, and it's still, you can see the impact and everything. So again, the MitchellChangFoundation.org, if you want to learn more about Mitchell, the playground, the foundation, Be the Good Story, all that stuff.
Go to the playground.
And go to the playground.
It serves its purpose if it's used. It needs to be loved. It needs to be used. Like we want more equipment to break, because that means it's being used in what it should do, bring joy.
And someone my size can be on the playground. Yes. I was there myself.
They're multi-generational.
I tested it myself.
So many parents had so much fun. That's actually one of the things we actually get is parents saying, my kids are so happy, but I was so happy too. And I'm like, yeah, it's good.
Takes you back to a simpler time when we were younger. One more time, the MitchellChangFoundation.org. I am, again, so honored to be there for the opening on the 30th. Honored to know you guys, and always thinking and praying for you guys. And I'd like to think Mitchell, wherever he is smiling down on what you and your husband have done and the playground. And
he loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it. Yeah.
Well,
well, thank you so much.
You know you have a lot of support and that you're loved. And so
thank you. And San Antonio's been so good to us. Thank you.
It's a pretty good place. One more time, the MitchellChangFoundation.org. This is April Chang. All the best to your husband as well. Your brilliant husband who graduated college at 18. I'm gonna go home and talk to my 14-year-old twins and be like, all right, we gotta step it up.
When he used to, I know, really, like when he used to go to do anesthesia, like the patients, because he looks like
Doogie Howser, like, is that?
Yeah, and they would be like, when he was in residency, they'd be like, how old are you?
You see your ID, please, sir, doctor?
Can I ask for someone else? Like, they'd be like, I'm not comfy.
Who let the intern in?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, you guys, again, you have a lot of support, and all the best to you moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Another episode of Pickup Lines. We'll be back again very soon. Until then, have a great day. Bye for now.